So I still have no idea how the Golden State Warriors were able to get Jimmy Butler, because while initially I didn't think it would really do much and it wouldn't get the Warriors over the hump, now after watching Butler play a few games alongside Curry, wow, has he opened things up for this team. It's like the Warriors have a new identity. Obviously there is still a long way to go, and the Warriors have to prove and figure out a lot more before they can even be near considered a contender. But with Klay Thompson returning back to the Bay again and a shorthanded Mavs team without their centers looking to pick up a big win, the Warriors dominated from start to finish, and Steph Curry had a moment where he turned back the clock and just could not miss. And in this video, I want to break down and talk all about this win and why this new look Warriors team is a problem. But before I begin, I would really appreciate it if you would drop a like and subscribe. It only takes 5 seconds, plus you can always change your mind. We are on the road to 50,000 subscribers, and with your support, I believe that we can get there super fast. So, since Jimmy Butler joined the squad, the Warriors defense has found a new gear. They're playing with a toughness and intensity that's been missing for a minute. It's not just about one guy, it's the whole team buying in, and against Dallas, you could see the frustration on the Mavericks' faces as they struggle to get comfortable. Butler's leadership is setting the tone, he's bringing the dog mentality, and it's contagious. The Warriors are scrappier, more physical, and it's throwing opponents off their game. You can literally see it. So the energy is a game changer. On the other end, the offense is starting to hum. Butler's not just a scorer, he's a playmaker who's taking a ton of pressure off Steph Curry. Defenses can't zero in on Steph like they used to, and it's opening up everything. In this game, the ball was moving, the spacing was on point, and guys were hitting their spots. Steph looked free out there, and we've known this for his whole career. When he's got room to operate, it's a wrap. The Warriors aren't running the same old system, but they're adapting, and it's clicking in a way I didn't see coming. Honestly, you gotta give Steve Kerr his flowers. He is a way better coach than he gets credit for. It really has been interesting to see Butler's game complement the Kerr motion offense. Jimmy doesn't need plays run for him. You run the motion offense, and if nothing is there, you give it to Jimmy and say, save us. And the Warriors have not had a guy like that all season long. Obviously, Curry can bail you out, but you know what I mean. Jimmy is big and physical, and in no time can get to his spots. Right here, this is definitely an interesting approach to defense by the Dallas Mavericks. PJ Washington has his back to the entire play, only because he's doing everything he can to stay in arm's reach of Curry. And once Curry wraps around to the other side of the court and PJ follows him, Jimmy has inside position on Max Christie, so he is able to rim run for a wide open dunk. This really was the piece the Warriors needed all along, because while the entire defense had their attention on Curry, the Warriors had the second option to go to expose the rest of the defense. And not only does Jimmy do that, but to state the obvious, he also keeps the ship afloat when Curry is off the floor as well, which is an area where this team struggled mightily over the last few months, because Draymond Green is no longer a guy that can help this team in terms of production. He still has one of the highest IQs the game has ever seen, and he can take command defensively, but it's clear that Draymond is on the decline in terms of basketball. Moving on to this next play, let's look at some Jimmy Butler defense. PJ Washington has the ball up top, and Butler has the perfect balance of being up in his face, but also staying back far enough to not commit a foul. And he is just a brick wall. If you think you can move him, then you thought wrong. And he has great lateral side to side movement as well. You're not going to Euro step your way around him, and that's what PJ Washington tries to do. But Jimmy is right there, giving Looney enough time to arrive on the scene and block the shot, and this defense created a transition opportunity that led to points. Now let's take a look at what Butler can do with the ball. On this play, he starts at the left wing, and Jimmy is so good at ball fakes. There were multiple times where he faked out a defender to get to his spot, but even when he only gets them a little bit, just a sliver of movement in the wrong direction is enough for Butler to get to where he wants to go. Here he cuts across the middle of the court. He's got 4 guys basically in a half ring around him. He makes it look like it's going to Pachenski. The Mavs bite, so then he adjusts mid-air and tosses it over to Post for the wide open corner 3. And Post has been so good as of late. Shout out to him. And then here we got Jimmy Butler posting up. He kind of has to gather the ball and get stuck, so instead he gets back in triple threat. And with how much motion is in the Steve Kerr offense, everyone on the Mavs is pretty much glued to their man, which opens up the one-on-one matchup, and it's barbecue chicken every time for Jimmy, who blows by his man with a nasty ball fake and finishes a tough layup. Like Steve Kerr said, when Jimmy first arrived, it's not just about what Jimmy does on the basketball court as a player, it's about his presence. Anytime you can take some of the game planning off Curry, you are helping your team win. And Jimmy's arrival, even though he's only been in the Bay for a few games so far, his arrival has bumped up Curry's numbers significantly in the month of January. And both guys look happy. There were moments in the early parts of the season where Steph was just so frustrated that he could not hold in his emotions. But now that joy is back, and a lot of the role players like Post are really benefiting from the team having two superstars as well. Looking at some of the final numbers from this game, Steph Curry had 30 points in 28 minutes, and the whole entire starting lineup did not have to play above 30 minutes. Looking at some of the final numbers from this game, Steph Curry had 30 points in 28 minutes, and the whole entire starting lineup did not have to play above 30 minutes. That is just huge. Before Jimmy, the Warriors had to squeeze out wins. Curry never got fourth quarters off, and less minutes for everyone is going to go a long way for being rested and having energy in the playoffs. Steph also had 4 rebounds, 7 assists, and a steal, and was 12 of 20 from the field. Not only was he hitting some outside shots, but he had some pretty impressive finishes around the rim as well. And his finishing throughout his entire career has been the most underrated part of his game. Draymond Green played 27 minutes and had 13, 4, and 6 with 2 steals. He was 5 of 10 shooting the ball, so one of Draymond's best games of the month, and Moody had 14 and 4 as well, and shot 5 of 10. Brandon Pachenski had a double-double with 17 points and 13 rebounds, and the thing that stands out about what he did is that the Warriors were plus 30 when he was on the court. He led plus minus out of all players, and it wasn't even close besides Jimmy. And speaking of Jimmy Butler, he had 18 points, 3 rebounds, and 5 assists, and was 5 of 9. So the Warriors starting lineup was just one make from Pachenski away from everyone shooting above 50%. That is championship level efficiency. Now looking at the bench, Buddy Hield didn't score much. He made 1 3 on 4 attempts, but he was plus 19 on the floor, and Post had 10 points in only 17 minutes, along with 6 rebounds and 3 assists, and Santos had 5 points and 8 rebounds. So overall, it was definitely the starting lineup that did the heavy lifting, but it's okay now because the Warriors offense is not just a one-man show, it's much more balanced. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about this game and performance by the Warriors. And here's what some of the actual guys had to say in their post-game interviews.
We always talk about the non-Steph minutes, and you mentioned before the game you're winning them and you won them again. What's the big picture? What does that do to the team overall when you can win and know you can win those minutes?
Yeah, it just feels the game feels easier right now for us. You know, every play is you know, not as crucial when there's a consistency of the game. You can make a mistake and keep playing and not feel like, you know, oh my God, we gotta flip things right now. So I just think the consistency of what we're seeing defensively is setting the tone. You know, points off turnovers. Again tonight was a big disparity in the game.
Lift the level of everybody around them. Like that's a hard thing to do, and it's such a commodity in the league. But then when you have a superstar like Jimmy who's done it year after year after year, you feel it right away.
That's really all I have to say for this video. Thank you all so much if you made it to this point, and if you enjoyed and haven't yet, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe. Please let me know what you would like to see next, and until then, I will see you all later.